Jason Ross, and joining us after something we're used to by now, comfortable 49er victories. Just stack them up. The one, the only from the Athletic, Matthew Barrows. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, guys. Did you not enjoy yesterday's offense explosion, defense, boa constrictor, squeezing the life out of the Bears?
Enjoyed the whole thing, and it was so. Look, from the macro, the season kind of screwy. Micro, one day. Not only was it wonderful to watch and super enjoyable, then towards the end, Matt, I think those of us old heads who remember Mike Anderson and Olandis Gary and the Shanahan family habit of plugging and playing, Kyle's really testing it at this point, Matt.
Yeah, we have Keyshawn Vaughn getting some carries at the end of the game. When you reach Keyshawn Vaughn levels, you've grown low on your running back group.
Yeah, and Matt,
by the way. Sorry, Jason. I was just any update on did we get any Garendo updates?
Not yet. We're supposed to talk to Kyle Shanahan at 12:30 today, and that might even be too early to get a definitive statement about what his MRI showed. That they go off to Stanford Hospital to get their MRIs late morning, so usually by 3:30 or so they know the results of that. Garendo did get an X-ray on the foot at Levi Stadium that didn't show anything obvious. The MRI obviously will go a little deeper into that, but the hope is that it's a minor sprain and that he'd be able to play Thursday against the Rams.
Yeah, that's the part that's tricky, Matt. I mean, it's 3 days away. Like, everybody always wants the full week of rest. Niners don't have that luxury. Also in the game, I know Purdy left. That was that weird hit, then came back. Everything, after the game, everything okay with him?
Yeah, after the game, everything's okay. One of the themes this season, though, has been after the game, things look okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all of a sudden, 3 or 4 more guys pop up on the injury list. And he would be a good candidate for that because rewatching that hit in slow motion, that's a really bad combination. The guy is hanging on to his neck as they descend, and then there's a second bear underneath Purdy. So he's sort of being bent over backwards with a 280-pound guy dangling from his neck. It seems to me that has the potential for some damage somewhere on your body.
So, look, I think we were Cardinals fans. I was trying to figure it out. We're Cards fans yesterday, Bills fans yesterday. The Niners still 2 back, and I'm not even getting to the tiebreakers or anything like that. Matt, what is the locker room mood? I know it doesn't change just because of one win, but they play a couple of these guys the rest of the year. Do you get a sense that they've checked out of the division at this point, or are they still playing as if hey, Super Bowl's in New Orleans, let's go?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they put blinders on. They don't really care about the division. They're just looking straight ahead with the hope and the faith, I guess that's the right word, that the Seahawks will lose 2 games and the Rams will lose a game or 2, that things will happen over the course of these last 4, and it'll end up, as long as the 49ers go straight ahead and take care of business, everything will be fine. It's wishful thinking. I'm looking at the Seattle schedule. It's home versus Green Bay, home versus Minnesota, 2 tough games, at Chicago, and then they finish up at the Rams. So, I mean, there's a glimmer of hope there if you're the 49ers. The problem for the 49ers is that they've got a huge game, Monday night game, against the Detroit Lions coming in the penultimate game of the season. So that's the one that just looms on their schedule because they can't afford to lose anymore. You have to win out. And some of these games you say, okay, they could beat the Rams. Oh, yeah, they can beat the Cardinals. They could beat the Dolphins. You look at that Lions game and you start to think, oh, boy, that's going to be a tough one. The Lions certainly can become overconfident. coming off an emotional win the week before. But the way their season ended last year, I think that this has been a game they've been circling for a long time.
Matt Barrows joining us, courtesy of Stockton Honda. Matt, I know you wrote in the Athletic, your kind of piece after was about the desperation the team played for and played with, and I think that showed yesterday. And one area where it showed up was the defense. I mean, we haven't seen this team stop the run like the way they did. And what was it, 6 or 7 sacks that they had in the game? What about that performance by the 49er defense?
Yeah, I think one of the themes of the season is that they went out and they got a couple of DNs in Leonard Floyd and Iker Gross-Matos in free agency. And Gross-Matos was hurt at the beginning of the season. And I really thought that Leonard Floyd might have been hurt as well. Remember, they both got hurt on back-to-back plays in Las Vegas in the preseason. Really kind of scary plays where their knees were bent under. And it ends up that Gross-Matos needed surgery because of that injury, and he missed 5 weeks. And I thought that Floyd might have been kind of fighting through something similar. I asked him about it last week, and he said, no, that wasn't the case. I've been perfectly healthy, but it's taken me a while to really adjust to this defense. And I don't feel like I've been playing as well as I could have until the last couple of weeks. So really, he went through almost 3/4 of the season not feeling super confident about how he was playing, and only recently has played to his ability. And with Nick Bosa out during the week, he really took over sort of the leadership role on that defensive line, and challenged everybody to step up and to play like it was a playoff game. They're essentially in playoff mode right now. Losing, they're done basically. So I give him a lot of credit to what you just described, that surge that you saw yesterday. 7 sacks. They haven't had 7 sacks like that in a while, and certainly not this season.
Matt, if you wouldn't mind, just rather than me asking you individually, would you mind running through, and granted, you're not going to know them all, but just where we're at injury-wise with some of the big hitters? Are we expecting anybody back anytime soon?
Drake Greenlaw would be the biggest big hitter, who's probably the best possibility to play on Thursday. The 49ers have stopped short of guaranteeing that, but it seems like this has been the game that they've been circling for a while. I ran into Nick Bosa coming out of the locker room because he didn't play.
Coach, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. You better ask about Nick. See if he's okay. But I asked him. I said I thought that maybe it was a case of, given the nature of his injury, he had to pick a game this week. Like if he had played against the Bears, there's no way that he could have turned around and been able to play against the Rams. So I said, was it a case where you had to basically pick one game this week that you had to play in? He said, no, that wasn't it. I just wasn't ready yet against the Bears. We'll see about the Rams. So obviously, I think he's closer to playing against the Rams, but that's still cloudy. And I would put Trent Williams in the same category. Cloudy. I have not seen him around the facility in a while. He is definitely trying to take weight off of that left ankle / heel injury that he had, using a scooter to get around. They're just trying to kind of reduce any sort of swelling or kind of wear and tear on it. So I would put it in the order of possibility. I'd say Dre Greenlaw is the greatest possibility, then Bosa, and then Williams after that.
Matt, obviously with the short week to get the Rams, this is a team that if we go back to, I think it was week 3, 4, whatever it was early on, and the Niners gave that game to the Rams. That was a game the Niners should have won. How different is the matchup now? I mean, that was so early in the season, and these two teams, the Rams coming off a really impressive win yesterday, but how different does this feel with this matchup this week?
I mean, the intensity is ratcheted up. I don't think there was any Cooper Kupp in that first game. He's definitely part of the mix now. There was no Christian McCaffrey back then. There's no Christian McCaffrey now. Christian McCaffrey has made an appearance in the middle. I think that the Isaac Rendo injury this week is going to play a big role in this. It's good news, bad news when you're facing the Rams. The good news is that you're facing a Rams defense that just gave up a lot of yards to the Bills. Short week. Usually the short week games, the defense just, isn't able to be as good as it usually is. Both teams. So you would expect the 49ers to be able to move the ball, but the Rams were certainly moving the ball really well. Everybody knows about their wide receivers and their quarterback. I think Kyron Williams, their running back, is probably a little bit overlooked in this league, but he really handles a big load for them. Scored two touchdowns yesterday, I think. Scored a lot of touchdowns this year. So he's somebody that you don't want to overlook.
Last thing for you, John Lynch made a comment earlier in this week. This was, I believe, before the Bears game, actually. Pretty much laughing off any idea of Kyle Shanahan being on a hot seat. And then I want to say, was it yesterday post-game, Matt? I think Kyle was asked about perhaps being traded to a team, and he said, I'm paraphrasing, but this is the only place I would possibly want to coach. The fact that they're both reacting to it, sometimes you get nervous, like, well, this a kiss of death? Are you reacting to it to react? It felt to me very very straightforward. Like, okay, we've been hearing about this. It's stupid. Let's be done with this. Is that how you took it?
Yeah. Nip this in the bud before it becomes something. And by the way, this something is like, it grew up in the darkest corners of the internet, and it's something to talk about. So people talked about it until it became something that's asked at a press conference, which is horrible. But there's no basis for it. I mean, I think good questions as this season draw to a close are you going to stick with your special teams coordinator? Are you going to stick with your defensive coordinator? I think that's legitimate moving forward. But sticking with Kyle Shanahan as the head coach, because they had a down season after 3 seasons in a row of going to the NFC Championship game is a bit ludicrous.
I guess I got to ask you then, even though I lied and said that was my last question. Is it too early to hear any sort of scuttlebutt about Robert Saleh returning? Do you feel like that's going to come in the offseason, if at all?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's a possibility. I've heard that, he's more interested in other places as far as, family stuff. He comes from a big family, wants to be close to family. West Coast is far away. I mean, this might be all kind of horse trading, negotiating at this point, but I would put Jeff Ulbrich probably at the top of the list because he's now the Jets' interim head coach, their defensive coordinator. Jets are doing poorly, eliminated from the playoffs yesterday. Good chance that he is a free agent available. And the 49ers went after him last year. At least they looked into the possibility of hiring Jeff Ulbrich to be Steve Wilks' replacement at defensive coordinator. They were given a quick no from the Jets because Ulbrich was still under contract. But Ulbrich is, he's a friend of Kyle Shanahan's. He's from San Jose. He played for the 49ers for X amount of years. He's got a sort of a cult of personality that I think Shanahan likes, and he runs the same system that Shanahan likes. There's a lot of reasons that Shanahan would want to hire him. I don't think that Shanahan is eager to replace Nick Sorensen, sorry. But again, if your ideal guy is available, that might be the case.
That is Matt Barrows of The Athletic, the best coverage you'll find anywhere for the San Francisco 49ers, of which we are the home of. We appreciate you as always, Matty. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully after another win.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Talk to you then.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. That is Matt Barrows. We will take a quick break. Jason.